Okay, I've spoken to the people who need chronic help from others, won't do anything for themselves, and I've also addressed the people who chronically help them. Now I want to talk about a third person in the equation that may or may not exist. This is the person that's supposed to be the backup just in case the helper can't help. I think you guys know what we're talking about. First, you have the person in the family who is always in some drama and always needs help, whether it's time or babysitter or extra money or a job or something to help them with their basics. They have never taken the time to do it for themselves. They've always leaned on the help of others to make it through life. And there's always those one or two people that run to their rescue every single time. Well, I explained to you previously why they do that. They already know this person has a chronic problem. So instead of teaching them how to handle it themselves, they'd rather just jump in and go ahead and handle it for them because of their deep-seated need to be needed. Well, there's a third person in the equation, too. This is the backup to the person who is the chronic helper. They're not actively helping all the time, but they have a little agreement with the helper that just in case so-and-so, has a problem and they're not around, they're supposed to step in and help. No questions asked. And a lot of people go ahead and do it because they have respect for the helper. They're like, you know what, that's my cousin so-and-so. We were raised up together. I'll do anything she wants me to do. No questions asked. That's okay every now and then if a situation comes up. If cousin so-and-so asks you to do something and you're willing to jump and do it, sometimes that's not always good. What you may need to do is start questioning some of the situations that cousin so-and-so wants you to jump in and get involved in, because sometimes those situations might land you into a world of hurt. It might cost you your finances. It might cost you a relationship. It might cost you a job, your time, and in some cases, it might cost you your life because you simply didn't investigate what was going on before you got involved in it. Somebody left out some information, or somebody didn't tell the truth about a situation, but because of their position in your life, knowing that you are willing to do anything for them, you go ahead and you get yourself involved, feet first, not knowing what you're getting into. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Let's say you have little JoJo. Yeah, we're talking about JoJo again. I don't know. I just seem to like that name. It's just a cute little name. Little JoJo is about 35 years old. Little JoJo either barely finished school or didn't finish school. Little JoJo moves from pillar to post, has never had a steady residence, has never had a steady income. The only thing that's steady about little JoJo is that little JoJo steady has a girlfriend, little JoJo steady having babies that he can't take care of, and little JoJo steady in the streets. Them streets know little JoJo. They know little JoJo. But JoJo doesn't know a rent. JoJo doesn't know a car payment. JoJo doesn't know a utility bill. But JoJo knows them streets, and he knows how to make babies. Now, JoJo was raised up kind of hard. Mama had problems and was not able to take care of him on a steady basis, and Daddy wasn't in the picture. So JoJo was raised by the village of the family. Between cousin and auntie and grandma, they raised JoJo, and they did the best they could. But now that JoJo is grown, auntie or grandma is up in age, got their own thing to deal with. But until JoJo was maybe about 20-some years old, when JoJo finally did leave the house to go couch surf because grandma or auntie got sick of it, JoJo is in the mindset that somebody's going to cover them. Because of his hard situation as a child, his family members took pity on him, and instead of giving him the normal amount of discipline that any other child would give him, they would go ahead and just use that sympathy as a means to let JoJo have his way a little bit too much. Let JoJo act out a little bit too often. And they let it slide. But when JoJo got a certain age and started bringing babies into the picture and then his baby mama drama and, and all these other issues with not keeping a job and everything else, see, it's not so cute anymore. It's not manageable. It's not a problem that can be controlled or kept on the hush-hush. The signs were there when he was coming up as a child, but now that he's an adult, they have manifested themselves into big adult problems that cannot be easily swept under the rug. You can't go hide it somewhere. They're evident. And so what a lot of people do to shield JoJo, they'll either play dumb like they don't know what's going on, or they don't have any answers, or they're feeling so guilty about the fact that they provided the lack of structure that he needed that they just feel helpless. But you have those one or two in the family that always have JoJo's back every single month, no matter what, no matter how messed up he gets. He gets locked up overnight, somebody's paying the bail. He breaks another car, they're out shopping for another piece of junk. He won't keep a job, and they're out there in the street trying to put the word out so he can get another job that he's not going to keep. Because he hadn't been held responsible for anything in his life, nothing at all. So let's say mama, grandma, whoever it is, has a diagnosis where they don't know how long they're going to be around. They have a terminal illness. Well, they have to put things in order to make sure things run smoothly after they leave, be it a business or be it their finances or be it if they're under care of a person. They need to find out who's going to be their backup to take care of that person once they're gone. And JoJo is on the list. Here's the problem. JoJo didn't have sense enough to realize that auntie or grandma was already grown and had a life before they came into the world. So part of him believes that auntie or grandma is going to be around forever, or at least until they get their shit together, which they haven't made step one to get their shit together. They've been talking about it ever since they were 21 years old, and they're 35 now, still talking about getting their shit together. And in the back of their mind, they are hoping that mama and grandma will just hold out until they get their shit together. They actually think that life is going to stop until they get their shit together. And I'm sure some of you can relate to some people like that. And some people have actually come out their mouth and even told you, oh, well, I need to do so-and-so. But I mean, if the good Lord is just willing to just let her hang around long enough just to see that I got myself together so she could be proud of me, that'll be good. It doesn't work that way, people. Life is going to go on, and it's going to continue going on, and whether you have your stuff together or not, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference, because life is life. So auntie or grandma decides they're going to go ahead and give the responsibility to their daughter or their brother. But see, here's the kicker. The person that they assign may not be on board with this because, see, coming up, they knew JoJo had problems and probably warned the family and told them, if y'all don't address these issues with JoJo, he ain't going to be worth a damn when he gets grown. Well, lo and behold, he doesn't. He's got 3 kids from 3 different baby mamas, has had 6 jobs in the past year, and lived in 3 different residences, living on somebody's sofa or somebody's air mattress in an extra bedroom. JoJo has not been taught how to be a man. And unfortunately, JoJo was probably raised up in a house that had mostly women. And don't get me wrong, I know some women who are single parents or actively raising a child, and they do a good job. But the thing is, there was no strong male presence to teach them what men need to be taught. They weren't. So he has no idea, no example of what daily male responsibilities are. And then got all these women that are overly emotional, because a lot of them are overly emotional, and that's the reason why they don't have a man, because they don't use rational thought. So he spends most of his childhood around a whole bunch of overly emotional, out-of-pocket females who never had anything, didn't want anything, and he follows that energy out into the world looking for someone to lash out at and to cover him when he's in trouble. So Auntie designates, let's say Denise. Denise is the daughter of Auntie who raised JoJo. Denise knows that Mama is going to be going up to glory in a very short period of time. Denise has got enough on her plate because Denise got a family of her own and then just found out her mom is terminally ill. So now on top of that, her mom is going to turn around and tell her, my last wish is that you take care of JoJo. Watch out for JoJo when I'm gone. Now, Denise, being nice, don't want to give Mama any drama or turn around and say, okay, Mama, I'll do that, because she doesn't want Mama to feel bad. But Denise, in the back of her mind, is like, Mama don't know. Once Mama is gone, JoJo's ass is on his own because he ain't coming to my house. You see where I'm going with this, people? You got somebody who is grown and dependent on another person in the family to take care of them. And when that person feels that their time is coming near where they can't do it for them anymore, it might not be a terminal illness. It could be a situation where they're getting retired and they're only going to be living off of 30% of their current income and they can't afford to do it. They might have to live in a smaller place. They don't have the space. Or it could be a situation where they're an older person and they're getting married and they're moving away. That happens too. There are a lot of gray marriages that are going on nowadays, and people take up stakes and they leave. You know, you're in the house by yourself. Why should you hang around if you get yourself a partner? So JoJo's going to be out of sorts. JoJo can't run around the corner over to Auntie anymore and borrow $50. He can't come over on Sunday and have a hot meal. And the baby mama can't come over there whining and complaining about JoJo every 2 seconds because Mama going to be gone. So Mama turns around and says, my dying wish is that you take care of so-and-so. And everybody all up in their emotions say, oh, we'll do it, Mama, we'll do it, we'll do it. And then when Mama's buried, guess what? Ain't nobody taking care of JoJo. Now, I know some of you might think this is wrong. And in a way, it probably seems wrong. But see, this is one of those situations where it falls into doing the wrong thing for the right reason. A dying person asks you to do something for them because you want their last days to be of comfort. You don't want them worrying about anything. So your intent was right. But when they turn around and ask you to look out for somebody that you know is fucked up, first of all, it's fucked up for them to even say that. But anyway, I digress. You turn around and you tell them, okay, I'll do that. And the only reason why you do that is because you don't want them to have to worry about anything in their last days. You have no intention of taking care of that person. Now, I think that's a clear case of doing the wrong thing for the right reason. You lied. You lied. But you lied because you didn't want your mother or your auntie or whoever it is that's on their deathbed to have to worry about anything else besides their next breath. So, I mean, you're not a villain for it, but I'm sure a lot of us has been in situations like that, pretty close to situations like that. So here it is, Mom's dead and buried. Everything's settled as far as Mom's final affairs, and everybody goes back to business as usual. And here's JoJo. Now, little does everybody know is that Auntie or Grandma, whoever it is that passed away, told JoJo that Denise was going to be taking care of him. Well, guess who's going to be up in Denise's face all the time? JoJo. JoJo was never taught to stand on his own. And Denise is like, I ain't doing nothing for you. So I guess everybody says, poor JoJo. Well, yeah, sort of, kind of. But see, there's a time in our life, people, where we're going to have to stand on our own 2 feet. I look at it like this. When you get grown enough where you start bringing other people into the world, it's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet. When you get grown enough where you start bringing other people into this world, it's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet. Until then, you're single or you're younger, You're trying to find yourself. You got the time and the resources to find yourself before you start bringing other people into this world. When you start having children and bringing other people into this world, to be that level of dependent and be grown yourself, it doesn't work. You can't turn around and be dependent on mama and daddy as a little kid when you have a little kid. That's a recipe for disaster. I don't care what anybody says. Now, if you live in one of these big families and you have a collective spirit and that's just the way that y'all roll and everybody's happy and everybody's prosperous as a result, that's a different story. I'm not talking about y'all. Kudos to y'all, because that might be a cultural thing. That's just the way the family works. I'm talking about the average family nowadays where people grow up, build lives of their own, live in separate areas, do separate things, and they just do family things as needed on occasion, just like everybody else. Everybody is responsible for their own lives in some way, form, or fashion, regardless of income or education. They're grown and they have their own lives. That's the way it is. But if you got this one person that's had this level of dependence on somebody, and that person who they depended on is gone, it's not anybody else's responsibility to take up where they left off. It's not. And some of you are probably going through that right now. So the best thing to do is just nip it in the bud. Teach people to be independent. The minute that first baby came into the picture, that should have been cut right there. Them apron strings should have been cut right then. And you could go out here and have unprotected sex and turn around and bring kids into the world. I don't care if you were drunk at a party, one night stand, whatever the case may be. You were performing an act where there was a risk of pregnancy and a child comes into the world. Guess what? You got from the time of conception till the child is born to get your shit together on some level. It's no longer a grown person's responsibility to take care of you. No longer. Now, if you're a teenager and that happens to you, that's different because you're not psychologically or physically developed when you do that anyway, and you are a minor and you are still under parental control. But if you up here, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, if you 20-something or 30-something and you out here making children and don't have a steady plug, don't have a steady source of shelter, or anything like that to provide the basics for the child, you don't need no grown person taking care of you. You don't. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave y'all to it. Peace.